Tracked effects are characterized by their ability to link the likes of tracks and regions. A track is an instance of a spline. In this context, they're pretty interchangeable, so I will say track for the remainder of this video. A track can be imagined as a path that a subject, in my case a player, will follow. Track graphics can be found here in green. Let's start by looking at the track effect. I'm starting with a keyed and calibrated clip. The tracking aspect of tracked effects are the same for each graphic. There are two ways to make a track: the automatic tracker and the semi-automated interval keyframe mode. For most instances, the manual interval mode will give us a fast and accurate track. Select the manual interval mode, select your interval time, I'll get back to this later, and then click on the feet of your player. The video will then automatically play. Once the video has paused again, click at the feet of the player. Keep going until you've gone as far as you need to in your analysis. For clips with rapid sudden movements, the interval time can be decreased to increase accuracy in exchange for the time it takes to create the track. If a player is running in a long, consistent manner for a long time, extending the interval time can save you time. Handy when doing first replay. Having deselected the manual interval mode, I can click and drag track handles to fine-tune or go back and edit my spline. The graphic customizations are pretty self-explanatory, but worth exploring as there are many options. I'm a personal fan of the live measurements like the speed trail. The Measurements tab allows us to add further information, giving us live statistics using a text box. Okay, his consistent jog probably wasn't the best place for a speed trail, but the speed trail's still my favourite. With a spline created, it's easy to instantly add other tracked effects. Select another compatible graphic like the spotlight, and instead of creating a spline, hit Link to Existing Track. Then select the spline you want it to follow, either on the pitch or in the parameter panel list here. When creating multiple splines, I highly recommend naming them to keep the project organized. The Dynamic Formation tool is a little different, so let's look at that next. Like before, select the graphic, then define at least 3 different points to create a zone, often the feet of players. I recommend doing this clockwise, and you can place as many as you like. Now hit the manual interval mode and the video will play and pause. Click on the feet of the players again in the same order and keep going. This is a very efficient way to create multiple tracks at once. Combined, we achieve this dynamic zone. With the tracks created, I can now add additional individual track graphics to each spline. First, I'm going to give them names to keep me sane later. Now I'm free to link whatever I like to my track, such as this marker. The player-to-player effect is a little like the dynamic formation effect, but for only 2 players, creating a customizable link between 2 splines. The caption track is a particularly flexible effect. Keeping PIERO in the legal clear, it's time to bring out the Sparky Spoonbills again. Tracks can be made and linked just like with the track effect. To save you ever needing to typing names, which is costly in a live environment, the caption track makes use of PIERO teams, managed in the Asset Manager. Check out our Asset Manager episode or the user guide for further details. Text can also be manually entered in these text boxes. Further customization includes the caption layout, the ground height, as well as all the customization available in the text effect in both of these text tabs. We gain further freedom by unticking the constrain anchor, which allows me to drag the end of the arrow wherever I like. This is particularly handy in something like a rugby scrum where we don't want to put the caption directly above. Lock caption position will force the caption itself to not move, but the arrow is still free to move. At the bottom, we have full access to all of the customization available for the arrow effect. The virtual ball, virtual run, and time-lapse effect behave differently to other tracked effects. Check out our dedicated episode on these or the user guide for more. Movable players allow us to click and drag players from one part of the pitch to another. To refine this graphic, the region tool can be used. Check out our dedicated episode or the user guide for more information on the region tool. This effect is easier to use on a pause. The player glow and player grow effect will make the player grow when selected. The glow can be customized to taste. The scale slider will grow the player as another way of highlighting them. The player grow does work better when you have higher resolution video. Like the movable players, this can be refined with the region tool. You can probably guess what removable players does. Selecting a player will make them semi-transparent by default. The leftover player opacity allows customization of this. Once again, this effect can be refined using the region tool if needed. The laser eye effect is useful for demonstrating a player's perspective. To get started, select the effect and then click and drag on the pitch, starting from the player's head to the target. Alternatively, it's possible to link the origin or target to an existing track. If you want to use a track just for the laser eye, you can always create a track using the track effect and make the marker invisible. Unticking the constrain checkbox allows us to dictate the exact ends of the laser eye. In the animation tab, we have the option to animate the laser eye. Hit add keyframe and move the handle to the starting position. Hit add keyframe again and move it to your next position. The distance between keyframes is dictated by the number of frames in the parameter panel. The width and height of the laser eye can be keyframed too. Keyframing can be combined with the link to origin track. The video effect is a little different. Placing the effect presents us with a large box which dictates where the video will go. The first thing to do is define a video input. These are defined in the PIERO launcher. What you can set your input to will depend on what version of PIERO you have and what hardware you're using. However, NDI is available in most environments and is a great way to bring in graphics, images, or videos from another machine, including an expression system. This is a very powerful combination. If you want to use this to layer 2D graphics over PIERO from a system like Expression, select Draw in 2D and Full Screen. Of course, ensure there's transparency in the video that you stream. Check out the NDI Tools Tips episode for more NDI tips. The position and border of the effect is fully customizable too. The video filter allows overlays such as monochrome, blur, or darken. The mask will define where the filter is present. On a keyed and calibrated clip, we can use the pitch as a mask. This will instantly mask out the pitch, allowing us to darken everything but the pitch. The invert mask will flip the mask, so the effect applies to everything outside of the mask instead. Like the dynamic formation effect, multiple tracks can be defined to create a dynamic zone for the video filter effect. Since you've seen this before, let's just speed it up. In the border tab, a line can be added and customized. The magnifier is handy for magnifying a particular item without zooming in the whole pitch. The outer circle defines where the magnifier will be, and the yellow circle in the middle shows what content will be grown to fill the magnifier. The effect can be keyframed by moving the yellow circle as we move through the timeline. Fixed position mode allows the magnifier to not be in the same place as the subject. It's worth noting that no key nor calibration is needed to use the magnifier to its full potential. Finally, in the background tab, we can dictate what happens outside of the magnifier. The last effect of this video is an easy one, the 2D freehand. It allows the user to simply draw over the pitch. No key or calibration needed for this effect. This effect is simple and can be used for almost anything. This effect pairs particularly well with PIERO Touch and the tactical board. There is plenty of customization available here, like with the arrow effect, so I recommend making some presets to suit your theme and style before using this on air. And that concludes this overview of track graphics.